In this video, I'll tell you which units are currently the strongest in Anime Expeditions, including the best DPS, support, utility, and some of the strongest team combinations you can build around them. Subscribe, like and hype if you want to get this and more Roblox guides and enter giveaways. Watch till the end to understand this guide well. Starting with support units, one of the safest choices for almost any team is Puppet Telekinetic. Marionette's gaze periodically marks the strongest enemy in range that is not already marked, making that target take 20% more damage from every source. That alone is really strong against bosses, but Puppet can also summon dolls that block enemies and use complete control for a rewind effect, so one unit gives you damage amplification, blocking, and crowd control at the same time. Shadow Divine is another top support, especially for magical teams. Shadow Realm can rewind enemies while temporarily increasing the damage of magical units by 25%. If you activate it during an important boss wave, you basically get more time to attack while your magical carries are also dealing more damage. Cubert is one of the strongest newer support options because its cubes can directly buff another unit. Each attached cube can increase damage by 5% and range by 3%, while the cubes themselves can also attack and trigger stuns. What makes Cubert really good is how flexible it is. You can use it with physical, magical, critical, transformation, follow-up, or fast attacking teams, and multiple Cuberts can even create a much larger cube setup. Crow Blackfire is more specialized, but it becomes extremely valuable whenever shields are a problem. Blackfire can remove enemy shields while still dealing damage, and shielded enemies inside Crow's range can receive additional Blackfire stacks. Bio-Insect Final Form is another unit that does way more than just one job. In its earlier form, it can copy part of the strongest unit's base damage while also increasing that unit's damage. Later, Semi-Perfect Form lets it create mini bio-insects that inherit part of its current damage, and can provide another buff to the strongest unit in their range. That gives bio-insect personal damage, buffs, summons, slow, stun, and other utility in one slot. The Drink Juice box is a great option for physical and follow-up teams. After enough normal attacks, Precision Slash applies a mark that makes enemies take additional follow-up damage and become more vulnerable to physical damage. This works especially well alongside units like Carrot and String Demon. Vegetable Prince is another specialized support, mainly for transformation teams. If another unit transforms inside its range, Vegetable can trigger its own transformation and also increase the damage of that transformed unit, which makes it useful with characters like Carrot, the Drink, Prodigy, and Bio-Insect. Moving into utility, Cursed Student True Love is easily one of the most interesting units because of Cursed Mimicry. Every third normal attack can copy an attack from the closest unit inside its range. Placement matters a lot here, because you want Cursed Student next to one of your strongest damage dealers, not beside some farm or basic support unit. If you place it next to something like 8th Sword, it can copy a much more valuable attack and turn into a serious damage contributor. Carrot Unleashed also has a really unique utility mechanic through relocation. If Carrot targets another unit, it relocates and both units instantly perform follow-up attacks for 75% of their current damage. This can also activate other follow-up mechanics across the team. If you relocate Carrot to an empty position instead, it performs its own follow-up attack and gains 50% more damage for 15 seconds. Toy Maker focuses more on blocking. It creates toys on paths inside its range. Those toys can stop enemies, and when destroyed they can deal area damage. Every 5th summoning cycle can also create stronger mutated toys. Cursed Immortal Black Sun plays completely differently from normal stationary units because it moves along the path and damages enemies inside its aura. Its black magic meter also changes between different states, modifying its attack area and damage behavior. String Demon Awaken brings another follow-up mechanic through String Sync, allowing nearby units to perform follow-up attacks whenever String Demon attacks. That makes it a really good fit beside the Drink and other follow-up focused characters. Hololaze is much more specific to burn teams because it converts burn effects into austere flames. Flame Emperor is one of the better partners since it can spread burn to multiple enemies. Now for the main DPS units. Dark Mage Sovereign is still one of the strongest magical carries because it cycles between ice and lightning attacks. Ice can freeze enemies, apply frostbite, and create extra area damage, while lightning provides a larger attack and leaves damaging effects across the path. That combination gives Dark Mage strong damage, wave clear, and crowd control at the same time. 8th Sword Berserk is one of the strongest pure DPS choices. It provides constant damage, extra attacks, and effects against weakened enemies, while getting enough takedowns improves its berserk state by increasing damage, reducing attack cooldown, and adding more effects. Shadow Divine also belongs here because its own damage is strong even before you count its support value. It has a permanent spirit summon, stun, rewind, and magical damage buff, so it is one of those units that fills several roles without really sacrificing much. Crow Blackfire is also a strong DPS option, especially against bosses and shield-heavy stages. Its illusion mechanic stores damage dealt to enemies and releases additional damage when the effect ends, while Blackfire keeps dealing with shields at the same time. Puppet Telekinetic has enough personal damage to qualify here as well, and that is what makes it so hard to replace. You get damage, a 20% incoming damage mark, blocking dolls, and rewind all from one slot. Elf Mage Unleashed remains a powerful mythical damage option. Its regular attacks create arcane charges that eventually trigger additional spells with different attack shapes, while Mana Burn and Overcharge improve the magical damage even further. Cursed Student can also become a strong DPS when it is positioned next to a powerful unit and starts copying valuable attacks. Crimson Brother brings crimson marks that can make enemies explode and leave damaging pools behind, while Piercing Crimson repeatedly attacks toward a selected location. Lady Giant Envy is a more affordable damage option with multiple placements, stone walls, an additional rock attack after enough normal attacks, and a giant form that temporarily boosts damage and range. If we look specifically at the highest current meta group, Dark Mage Sovereign, Shadow Divine, 8th Sword Berserk, Crow Blackfire, Puppet Telekinetic, Prodigy Rage, Bioinsect Final Form, and Cubert are all standout choices because they bring more than simple raw damage. Prodigy Rage uses transformations for repeated area attacks and becomes stronger against enemies affected by different status effects. Father and Son Spirit Energy also gives it focused damage, so it can deal with both waves and bosses, especially in teams that constantly apply debuffs. Bioinsect takes longer to reach full power, but once it does, it can copy damage, buff allies, slow and stun enemies, summon mini bioinsects, increase its range, improve its area attacks, and permanently scale through bio reset. Cubert is different because it may not be your main carry, but you can choose exactly which units receive its cubes, making it one of the easiest supports to fit into different compositions. For a newer physical team, Carrot, the drink, and vegetable work especially well together. Carrot creates follow-up attacks and brings strong critical damage. The drink boosts follow-up damage and applies physical weakness, and vegetable benefits from transformations and nearby attacks. You can also add String Demon to create even more follow-up attacks through String Sync. It is a more specific team than simply throwing in Prodigy, Bioinsect, or Cubert, but when everything works together, it can be extremely strong. Overall, the current meta rewards units that can do multiple jobs instead of only putting out numbers. Shadow Divine, Puppet Telekinetic, Cursed Student True Love, and 8th Sword Berserk are all excellent long-term investments, while True Saint Holy is still one of the strongest free options for newer players. If your team also needs better economy during a match, Roman or Stone Alchemist can fill that role. So when building your setup, do not just stack 6 DPS units and call it done. Give your main carry strong support, add utility that actually matches their mechanics, keep your economy healthy, and you will get much more value out of the same team.